This is the National Video Journalist Network.
Welcome to MyLITV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we've traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. MyLITV starts now.
In her new book, AJ opens up for the first time about her struggle to understand her demons and the mental illness diagnosis that helped her gain control of her life. Please welcome to Book Review, author of Crazy is My Superpower, AJ Mendez Brooks.
The title is very much about embracing the things that you might see as your faults, that you might feel insecure about, that people might cause you to feel shame about. And taking those things and claiming them and finding a strength and a power in them.
There are a lot of wrestling stories in here, so I hope it satisfies that that wrestling itch. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But the most meaningful stuff to me are the stories of my childhood.
For, behind the scenes, dirt and all that stuff, there's so many books that have that dish that people can turn to that are really well done. So I wanted to try to do something different. For me, that was creating a book that people would not expect and to focus on the parts of my life that people could learn the most from. And that was, the hardest parts of my life that came before wrestling.
Growing up, my sister and I would kind of always joke that every hard thing we went through was happening just so we could put it in a book one day. And, we'd get evicted from an apartment and we'd be like, don't worry, let's go into the book one day. And then one day it just became real, and it became important for me to really make sure I tell my story and I pass it on.
Crazy, it can be a derogatory term. To take the power away from those words, you have to embrace them, and you have to, instead of trying to hide them or fight them or change them, say, yeah, that is who I am. I am bipolar, and it's the best thing about me. It's given me strength and courage. It has become my superpower.
I would say I'm more of a Marvel girl, and I've always loved Jean Grey. Dark Phoenix Saga is my favorite thing on Earth.
I always believed in being a self-rescuing princess, I never understood Princess Peach, just always getting kidnapped. I always thought, why do you have to wait for the hero to rescue you? Be your own hero, rescue yourself.
And I was really drawn to her just because she was a lot different and she really reminded me of myself. I think it's that she doesn't do the normal things. She does what everybody else doesn't want her to do.
I'm also a huge video game fan that read, comic books still till today. Refuse to grow up, all that good stuff. I've always been I like to tell my friends and family she's my favorite female wrestler of all time.
You know what it is? It's just she's so relatable. You could just, have a casual conversation with her, joke around with her. She's not uptight. You're not scared to talk to her.
Growing up in poverty and not having a stable home and growing up in a volatile environment, I wouldn't change it for the world. I feel like I am who I am because I went through those hardships. And I hope that putting them in the book and being so vulnerable about the darkest times in my life, the most trying times in my life, can maybe help somebody.
When I was 16, 17, I went to WrestleMania 20 with my dad, and we had nosebleed seats. I looked over at my dad, and my dad had tears in his eyes, and we could barely see the ring, and I looked at him, and I said, "Why are you crying?" And he said, "I wish I could have afforded better seats for you." And I just looked at him, and I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'm going to be in that ring one day." And 10 years later, at WrestleMania 30, I walked in and out as the champion.